Do you ever feel imbalanced, unclear, or just not quite with it? There are two sides to absolutely everything in life. There's good, there's bad, there's light, there's dark, there's up, there's down, there's this, there's that. All of it, masculine, feminine, right? Everything in this world is energy at its core. And so our brains like to categorize things, and the two main categories that we can break energy up into is masculine energy and feminine energy. So I created a workshop that could help differentiate between the two, how to properly balance them and within our lives, and how to feel like we have a conscious feel of what we're actually exercising, because there's masculine and feminine in both sides of our brains and both sides of our bodies. So when we actually consider what would be masculine and feminine, we can consciously balance that within our lives and we can feel good about it, because we need a proper balance within each of the individuals to help us go about our lives. Not everybody's made exactly the same. We're all cut from the same cloth, but just a little bit slightly different. Now, all this information that I'm about to give you, you don't have to take to heart, but it's stuff that has helped me along my journey, and it's things that I have learned within different cultures, different religions, within my psychology, and it just seems to kind of make sense to me. So, like I said, take it or leave it for whatever you'd like, but here's the information presented for you. What I've done is I've compiled a bunch of information and a bunch of techniques that have worked in previous exercises for people to help balance both sides of their brain, both hemispheres, and to balance the masculine and feminine sides of their bodies. Essentially, I would break it up into three parts. It's balancing our mind, and then our body, and then our spirit. And then within our mind, body, spirit, we have that balance of masculine and feminine energy. I would really like to start out with a meditation so that we can all kind of get into the headspace that we need to be in. That's actually one of the first techniques that you can use to help balance your masculine and your feminine energy, because what it does is it starts to get the left and the right brain hemispheres working together, and so then you're able to think more clearly, stay more focused. So that's what we're going to start out with, if that's all right with you. So I'd like to invite everybody to get to a comfortable place. Start by taking a couple deep breaths in your nose. Hold it for a second. Then breathe out your mouth. And I would like you to welcome in the sensations that are around you, in your jaw, and sensations in your mouth, your inner and outer ears, all around your eyes. Feel your forehead and your scalp. Welcome sensations in your neck, throat, shoulders, and shoulder blades, arms, your palms, and fingers. Welcome sensation in your upper, middle, and your lower torso, your back, your pelvis, and sacrum, and your hips, your legs, and your feet. I want you to sense every part of your body at the same time. Front and back, right and left, internal and on the surface. Then feel your entire body as shimmering, vibrant energy. A glowing, pulsing field of sensation that emanates and radiates both inwardly and outwardly at the same time. Keep turning attention back to this feeling, to your body as radiant sensation, even as thoughts or other distractions arise. Keep breathing. Keep focused on physical sensations. For example, notice when your feet feel tension and how your breath travels through your inhalers and exhales. As you do this, you're consciously switching off your default network of time and space separation and enlivening your attention and control networks so that ultimately you can switch on your present-centered network. This is the final gateway to connecting with our universal life force and infinite possibility. I want you to welcome every cell, all the cells throughout your body, to join and experience the underlying pulse or throb of the universal life force that is animating and enlivening every atom, molecule, and particle of your whole entire being and everything in the cosmos. Continue to affirm your intentions into your head. When distracting thoughts arise, note them, then turn your attention back to welcoming and feeling the body as vibrant, radiant, innate, universal life force. We will do this for a couple minutes while focusing on our breath awareness in our nose, hold it, out our mouths, and then we will come back and join together as we discuss the balances of our masculine and femininity. Another way that's really good for us to balance our masculine and feminine energy is to do, aside from breath awareness, alternate nostril breathing. Now, the reason alternate nostril breathing helps is because as you're switching back and forth between each of your nostrils on a count, your brain hemispheres start to interconnect the brain waves together. So it makes it like you can get more focus, more clarity, and you fall into more of a meditative state. So what we're going to do is practice a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. You take your ring finger here and your thumb, and you place it on each nostril. And what you do is you hold down one side and you count in. I do a breath count of 4, and then I hold it with no breath for 4 seconds, and then you blow out the opposite side for 4 seconds, and then you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it, breathe out the opposite side for 4 seconds. So. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. And breathe out. What a beautiful way to balance both of the hemispheres of your brain. So those are two really good ways that you can start it off for your balances within yourself. You can do meditation, or you can do alternate nostril breathing, or just breath awareness. Both of those things are very beneficial in helping to balance ourselves. Now, when talking about masculine and feminine energy, they actually have characteristics. So these characteristics can help us to better identify both of them. When talking about feminine energy, that's our Mother Nature. Mother Nature can be very unpredictable. She has hurricanes and storms and tornadoes and all types of natural disasters that can be considered beautiful but also detrimental. And then essentially our masculine energy is the prana, the intent. It's the planning and the structure and everything that's behind it of our society and of the geometry sequence that goes along within nature and the beautiful patterns. And then basically between both of them, that's where we find the beauty of the dance, where you can fall back and forth. When we can find a happiness in the middle and let go of attachment to outcome, then that's where we can actually stay and be, and that's just isness. It's just allowing the masculine and the feminine to work together in their beauty so that we can have the most optimum functioning of ourselves and of nature around us. So basically, I have some excerpts that I'm going to read, and then we'll go through some more exercises. I have a couple of activities that we can do that are fun to help balance our masculine and feminine energy. But I got this from a website called awakeningbody.com. It was an article, and I really enjoyed the excerpt because when talking about masculine and feminine energy, you know, a slight part of it goes to sexual orientation, but that's not even the tip of the iceberg for explaining it. There's a lot more that goes into it aside from sexual orientation. So when you're in a male body, your primary lessons are about male energy. Oh my gosh, sorry, I need to get some water. Awesome, perfect, so much better. Water is life, just to let y'all know. You should be drinking water a lot to help hydrate yourselves. When you're in a male body, your primary lessons are about male energy. And when you're in a female body, about female energy. However, the more lifetimes you have had in both male and female bodies, the less your identity is limited to the gender of your present body. Therefore, you can use both your male and female energies as appropriate. Satisfying sexual relationships are as you define them. All other things being equal, which they rarely are not taking into account the key issues of one's intrinsic orientation. Sex with someone of the opposite gender is, by definition, more balancing, because what is opposite is balancing. However, this does not invalidate sexual experiences between those of the same gender. If a sexual experience fulfills your particular needs and is satisfying to you, that is what matters. And like I said, I'm not here to change anybody's ideals or to make anybody think what I think. These are just tools that have helped me, and I believe that everybody has a right to believe the certain things that they believe. But I think that no matter what you believe, applying these certain values and these certain things to what you believe can actually help you to see it a little bit more clearly. So I have an activity. Actually, you know what? Before we do the activity, there is signs that are of imbalance within the brain, and I want to talk about how basically I've got some pictures. The left and the right side of the brain are both different. One side is masculine, that would be the left side, and one side is feminine, that would be the right side. So our creativity and our flow, here's some pictures I want to show you guys. See how we've got the left side of the brain is all artistic and fun, or the right side of the brain, I'm sorry, is all artistic and fun. And the left side's very structured, very orderly. And then what that does is our brain controls the left and right sides of our bodies. So with the right side being feminine, I messed that up before, so our right side is feminine, the left side of our bodies are feminine. And with the left side of our brains being masculine, the right sides of our bodies are masculine. So we actually choose which hemispheres we want to be dominant as, you know, we go through life, and it changes all the time. But if you think about being left or right-handed, you're actually dominantly using one side, masculine or feminine, on either side of your body, depending on how you do that. So Signs of imbalance: if you have left brain weakness, so this would be masculine brain weakness, it says you may have poor math skills, poor verbal skills, poor spelling skills, poor reading skills, fine motor problems, poor letter recognition, poor auditory processing, a weak immune response, poor memory for details, misses small details, poor self-esteem, poor motivation, or task avoidance. Now, if you're right brain weakness, so you have a more weakness on the feminine side, the creativity flow side, it says that you may be awkward or clumsy. You may be hyperactive or anxious. You may have poor nonverbal skills. You may be impulsive or lack focus. You may lack emotional control, poor reading comprehension, obsessive repetitive behaviors, immature social behavior, allergies or autoimmunities, lack of interest in sports, missing the big picture, poor eye contact, or space invader. So, I think that we all fall under the category of both of these sides, but when we start to learn how to work our hemispheres more together, then we can actually find more of a balance between ourselves with this. So, and here's a cool picture of the yin yang on inside the brain. So then we've got characteristics. Before we do the activity, here's some other characteristics. So the masculine side could be considered Shiva. It could be considered, and that's in Vedic teaching, it can be considered the yang. In the yin yang, it's the yang part. It's considered prana, which is intent. It's our purpose for doing things, so the order, the structure. It's the left side of the brain, the right side of the body, and it would be considered dark. So then the feminine side, we have the right side of the brain. It would be considered our Shakti. That's in, like I said, in Vedic teaching. So Shakti Shiva, it's the feminine Shakti energy. It's considered the yin as associated with the yin yang, and it's Akasha, it's our spirit, our free-flowing spirit. The right side of our brain, left side of our body, and it's considered light. And then here's a cool picture of Fibonacci spiral. So that's one thing that's in nature that is the main thing that they say everything is based off of in, our dance of life, is all plant matter, all of us, everything is fractals, and everything is based off of this, the Fibonacci spiral. It's our divine feminine flow, the curves, but then the structure of the geometric shapes around it to give it the shape and the flow that it needs. So there's that divine dance in between both. And here's some Fibonacci spiral stuff that we have in everyday life. There's the ear, a staircase, a seashell, flowers, cosmos. Literally everything comes down to this spiral of life, if you will. So in this activity that I have, basically and I don't know how well it'll work, but I can show it to you so that you can do it yourself if you'd like to. I'll hold it up for a couple minutes. Maybe you can screenshot it or something, but it's an activity about basically mixing up words and having your brain try to find the right one that goes with it. So if you look at that, what you have to do is you have to look at the chart and say the color, not the word. So that first one, we'll start right up here and we'll move down. I'm going to do it with you. Green, yellow, red, black, green, blue, red, blue, blue, red, blue, red, blue, black, green, yellow, black, green. That was fun. So that's a good brain teaser to help you basically kind of get that association that you need to be able to connect both sides. But basically, your right brain tries to say the color, but your left brain insists on reading the words. So it's finding that mix between the both where it works out. So our left brain is associated, this is the masculine side again, with logic, analysis, sequencing, linear, mathematics, language, facts, think in words, words of songs, and computation. While our right side is creativity, imagination, holistic thinking, intuition, arts, motor skills, rhythm, which is beats, nonverbal, feelings, visualization, tune of songs, and daydreaming. Sounds like a lot of what I do. I'm very, very right side of my brain, feminine energy. So then we've got, that was all basically the mind. Now we get into exercising the body and exercising the masculine and feminine within our body. Now, doing things like walking, or when you're a kid crawling, using those both sides of your body, that's actually using both the masculine and feminine sides because you're doing equal balance on either side. So doing little stretches, like just bringing your arms, this is a meridian down the center, across this meridian, and then one across this meridian. That is all balancing our masculine feminine energy. Another way that you can do, so any stretches, literally absolutely any type of stretch where you're crossing over the meridians, and that's considered cross-lateral movement. Then we actually have, that's crossing the midline. Yeah, crossing the midline, sorry. And then we have cross-lateral movement, which would be, so say you're in this pose right here, right? And you bring up this arm and then bring out the opposite foot. I know you can't really see there, but doing the opposite. So it tricks your brain. So like I have my arm out, my right arm, and then I have my left foot out. And that basically is causing a cross-lateral movement so that my brain is actually switching things up to send messages to other sites of my body, and it connects it together, which makes for a more congruent flow. Like I said, the alternate nostril breathing, and also, what's the last one I have here? Oh, mismatched movement. So this one's going to be another really fun activity. So, but basically what we're going to do is, and I'm sure everybody's done this, if not, then welcome. This is fun, and you can sit here and try this and torture yourself with it until you get it down. It's a practice. So the patting your head and the rubbing your tummy, this is mixed-matched movement. Super fun. So switch it. I'm going to switch it. Patting my head and rubbing my tummy, and when you get into a flow, that's using both sides of your brains to help do the different things. So that's some really good ways to kind of get that done. Now, I have a quote from a doctor. Her name is Dr. Shannonhoff Khalsa, and she was writing that it is likely that the effect of alternate nostril breathing techniques can be directly affected to lateralized sympathetic and vagal inputs into the heart, thereby inducing a balance in the autonomic nervous system activity. This may help to reset the electrical patterns affecting the heart muscle. I thought that was a pretty cool quote because, it's actually giving physicalities that are different in us to help us reconnect those electrical charges basically within ourselves. Since, like I said, we're all energy, so it's important that we are kind of getting that electric current flowing the way that it possibly could. Okay, so that's basically like the body part of things, and then I want to get into spirit. So you can take this or leave this, like I said, to each their own. I'm not forcing anything on anybody, but I think that spirit is an important combination of balancing what's going on in our lives, because basically I feel our spirit is our passion. It's our highest joy. It's what we should be doing, what we're intended to do, what our desires and what our divine existence is here for. And if you think about spirit in terms of masculine and feminine energy, like you have passions that are around us, the structures and the organizations of our society, and then maybe the feminine flow of just being in nature, doing things like that. And it's really hard because in our society, we have a lot of masculine balanced corporations and things that are around us that just kind of get us sucked into this masculine world, sitting at a computer, sitting at a desk, just doing the numbers part of things and not getting the enjoyment of nature part of life or the fluid part of life where there is no structure and we kind of enjoy with having faith and letting what happens to us happen to us. So there's a couple different ways that I came across balancing this spiritual energy. One would just be being out in nature for sure. And then with the masculine, it's, doing the things that we do in our regular society. So you find a balance between both of those passions of what you have. So going on hikes, but also spending time on the computer, just making sure that you have an accurate balance between those two things. Now it can also be considered for representation of worship for self, for the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So masculine would be considered our spirit, our God, if you will. And then feminine would be your mother nature, and that's the divine feminine. And so basically finding worship between the both, finding that balance where you're like, okay, yes, like I totally, I resonate and I love this masculine side of myself, all the structure and organization, but I also worship and appreciate this feminine side of myself, the fluidity, the unexpected, and things like that. And so basically in our spirit selves, that actually brings together a unique combination of unity that helps us to be able to, like I said, more congruently flow. So I also have, in the workshop that I'm actually holding physically, I would be showing a little spirit science video, which is the balancing of masculine and feminine energy. I obviously can't show it here right now, so if you desire to look it up, it's just you YouTube spirit science and then balance masculine feminine energy. It's about 10 minutes long, so you can check it out for yourself. It's a really good one. And then also I had an excerpt from a book called Women Are from Venus, Men Are from Mars and Women Are from Venus, and it's by John Gray. And basically it talks about the balances of masculine and feminine energy. It does talk about it within sexual orientation, but you know, we have come here and we're not exactly the same. We want to be equal, but there's just differences about us that make us unequal, but that's okay. That's part of being an individual, because in all actuality, even if we separate the masculine and the feminine energy, even that's not equal, because on an individual level, we are so incredibly different and so incredibly unique that we should embrace that. We can use these things as a guidance and a basis for coming to the core of what our energies are, just because, you know, our brains do separate things into categories to help us to learn things better. So it does help to be able to kind of see it from these views. But, you know that everybody, like I said, has a different balance within themselves, and you could be completely female with a strong dose of masculine energy within yourself, or you could be a male with a strong dose of feminine energy within yourself. So when you learn to kind of sit back and find these subtleties and figure out where you are, then you can actually start to create the happiness around you that you desire, because you know which muscles you're consciously exercising to be where you want to be at with life. So I hope that this has helped you. I hope that it was entertaining, to say the least. And I love you all, and blessings to you. If you want to check out any of my other stuff, I'm on YouTube at A Spiral Resource. Also, you can email me at aspiralresource@gmail.com. Also, I have a Facebook page with my partner Emily. It's Lyra Muse. And then we also have Instagram, Twitter, and all that. And blessings to you. Have a great rest of your days.